This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all. This is one of the frequently asked questions. What is the difference between exit activity and activity end? All right. So you need to know this difference between this exit activity and activity end. So you later on you can specify the scenarios in which scenario you can apply the activity end and which scenario you can apply the exit activity. So exit activity ends the current activity execution and returns the control to the calling activity. So if you're exiting the activity, okay, then it is going to end the only the current activity. Wherever you are keeping this exit activity method call, only that particular activity only completes it. That means the execution part will complete only for that particular activity, and wherever this activity is called, that continues. But whereas if you go for activity end, this ends the current activity and all the calling activities. So all the calling activities will also be won't be the control is not going to return back. Okay, so all the activity executions will end over there itself. Okay, so let's go to the demonstration to understand more on this. Okay, so I do have an activity A which is calling activity B, and there is a property set on this activity A, and in the activity B I can say there is obj open by handle and there is a method called exit activity. So as per the definition of exit activity, so since I'm calling to the activity A, it is calling the activity B, and here the exit activity will exit only the current activity and the control will return back to this activity A, and it is going to display the debug information. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so if I run this, so you can see the difference over here. So activity A is executing. Okay, sorry, activity A started and the control is passed to activity B, and activity B executed both the steps 1 and 2, and the control is returned back to activity A, and the second step in the activity A executed later on. Okay, since we are exiting only the current activity, so since we are calling exit activity, it is exiting only the current activity. Now whereas if I go back to my dev studio and if I have this activity B calls activity end, so what happens is the control is going first to the activity A, so control executes from here. Okay, so the control is returned to activity B and activity B executes. At second step, it is going to exit not only the current activity, even the calling activities as well. So activity A also doesn't get the control back, and second step of this will be won't be executed. Okay, so this is how the activity end works. So now let's go and run the trace. Okay, so now you can see here. Okay, so now you can see here the activity A executed, and then activity B started executing, and since it has activity end, okay, so it is going to end the activity, sorry, it is going to end the current activity as well as the calling activity. The calling activity is activity A, so activity A and activity B both ends over here itself. So you can see the second step never executes in this particular scenario. But whereas if you see in case of exit activity, the second step executed, since only the current activity execution stops. Okay, and the next activity will continue. The control will return back to the calling activity. All right.